Well, hello and welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to be talking about the word it in Portuguese. This was a question that somebody raised in the comments in one of my videos, and I thought I would make a video to answer the question. If you have not seen these videos before and you don't know who I am, my name is Amanda. I've been living in the Algarve for 35 years. I've been speaking Portuguese for 34 years, and I have been teaching for 20 years. I've been teaching people just like you that came here without knowing a word, and I understand your frustration because at once upon a time, 34 years ago, I was there. The fact is that there isn't really one word for the word it in Portuguese. We can use the pronouns ele and ela, and sometimes these will be used, so I will just show you an example here. So if we take a look here, you can see at the bottom, in this part here, o meu carro não está bem, ele não pega. So my car is not well, he doesn't start. So in this particular case, we are using he. You can simply say não pega. You don't really have to say ele, because when you say não pega, it's also it doesn't start. It's actually in the verb itself. Like when we say it is raining, we say está a chover. So let's take a look at the next. A janela está limpa, não está suja. So here we've completely not used any word here for the word it. We've just used the word está, the verb está. It may seem complicated at first, but it really isn't. Believe me, it's not that complicated. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. Now, there are cases when we're going to use a pronoun for it. Pronouns are words that we use to substitute names and avoid repetition. So, for example, I eat the soup, I eat it. We're not going to say I eat the soup. The soup is good. I made the soup. We're going to use it quite frequently. So we're going to use the pronoun to avoid saying the word soup again. So what would we use if we were to say I eat the soup? I eat it. Okay, so to get an idea, we take a look at the table here. So we've got the pronouns. If you look at line 1, you can see line 1 here. And we've got line 2 underneath. So we've got u, os, as. Now these are going to be used after vowels. And then we've got lu, l, luz, las. And these are going to be used after infinitives. It's not just after infinitives. I will explain later. So, for example, we've got eu como a sopa, eu como a. So we're using the first line here. So we're just putting a hyphen and we're attaching it. Now, if you look at the table, you will notice how in row 1, the pronoun resembles the article. So we all know about the article, yeah? The article the. So we would say, for example, a sopa. But in line 1, these pronouns look just like articles, and that can actually help us in the long run, and I will show you how. So let's take a look at our next examples. Ela lava o carro. Ela lava-o. O Jaime arruma os livros. Ele arruma-os. A Laura atira a bola. Ela atira. Eu como as bolachas. Eu como-as todas. Ela abre a janela. Ele abre a janela. Ele abra. Now, I mentioned the article before. This is almost like we're using the article and we're just dropping the noun. So it's kind of like we're using the article and we're dropping the noun. So instead of saying o carro, we're just saying o. Ela lava o carro. Ela lava-o. So if we think of just not repeating the noun, but we can still repeat the article, this is going to give us a very simple way of learning how to use these pronouns. So let's just take a look at that again. So you see ela lava o carro, ela lava-o. So it's like we could be saying lava o carro, but we're not saying the word carro. And the same with livros. Ele arruma-os. Ele arruma os livros, but we're not saying the word livros. And ela atira a bola, but we're not saying the word bola. And it even goes plural, like as bolachas, the biscuits. And then we've got eu como-as todas. Ele abre a janela, ele abra. So you can see that in this case, it's almost like we're using the article. Technically, it's not the article, but if you think of it as such, it's going to make it easier for you to actually remember how to do this. So in the case of the negative, we have to make a minor alteration, and we're going to change the position of the pronoun. It's going to be placed before the verb. So let's take a look at the placement of the pronoun in the negative. Ela não lava o carro. Ela não o lava. O Jaime não arruma os livros. Ele não os arruma. A Laura não atira a bola. Ela não a atira. Eu não como as bolachas. Não as como todas. Ele não abre a janela. Ele não a abre. Ele não a abre. So you can see what's happened now with the negative is we've placed these words, we've placed these pronouns before the verb rather than after. And they also lose the hyphen. We don't hyphenate them in this case. If you want to learn more about the placement of the pronouns, take a look at the video below about the reflexives. So the reflexive pronouns work in a similar way. So when we change it to the negative, they change position, and these ones that we're learning now are going to be the same. So next we're going to take a look at line 2. So line 1, if you noticed, we're going to use this after vowels. Line 2, we're going to use this in a different way. In line 2, you can see that we've got lu, l, luj, luj. And these are going to be used after the infinitives. So what this means is infinitives are verbs before we change them, and they will either end in AR, ER, or IR. And these are called infinitives. So when we place the pronoun at the end after an infinitive, we're going to use these pronouns in line 2. Now this time, we've got one verb after another. So we've got two verbs together. So we've got vai, lavar. The first verb is going to be conjugated. The second verb is in the infinitive. So ela vai lavar o carro. And this is going to change to ela vai lavá-lo. O Jaime vai arrumar os livros. Ele vai arrumá-los. A Laura vai atirar a bola. Ela vai atirá-la. Eu vou comer as bolachas. Eu vou comê-las todas. Ele vai abrir a janela. Vai abri-la. In this case, what we've done here is we've taken off the ending and we've replaced it with an A with an accent. Now, why would we do this? Well, because the verb lavar is stressed at the end, lavar. And we want to keep that same sound. So by putting this here, we're still going to keep the stress at the end, and it's going to sound very similar. Lavar, lavar. If we didn't put that, it would just be lava. And we don't want it to sound, it's not going to be ela vai lavalu. No, ela vai lavalu. And we did the same with arrumar. We took off the A and the R and we added this. And we basically do it with all of them. So the AR verbs, this is what we do. Now the ER verbs, we're going to take off the ER and we're going to put an accent on the E again for the same reason, so that we get the sound comer, comelas, comelas. If we didn't have that accent, it would be comelas. We don't want it to sound like that because we want to get the infinitive verb sound. Vou comer as bolachas, vou comê-las. And then we've got the last one. Ele vai abrir a janela, vai abri-la. I actually dropped the ele here as well because we don't need to say it. Once we already know who we're talking about, we no longer need to say that pronoun, so we can drop it too. Vai abri-la. So are you getting the idea of how this works? We're taking the infinitive, we're taking the ends off, and we're substituting it with the accent and an A for AR verbs. We're substituting it with an accent and an E for ER verbs. And with IR verbs, we don't need to put anything there because it automatically will be stressed on the I anyway. And it may seem difficult at first, but you'll find if you go over this video again, you'll find that it's not as difficult as it looks. So in the case of the negative, we can place the pronoun after the verb as well. We can also put it before, but we can do it after, and it's a lot easier. So if we take a look at this. Ela não vai lavar o carro. Ela não vai lavá-lo. So she's not gonna wash it. O Jaime não vai arrumar os livros. Ele não vai arrumá-los. A Laura não vai atirar a bola. Ela não vai atirá-la. Eu não vou comer as bolachas. Eu não vou comê-las. Ele não vai abrir a janela. Não vai abri-la. So you can see that this is not that complicated either because we're keeping it in the same position. Now what we can do is we could actually do it a different way and we could put it before the verb. So I'm going to show you a few examples before the verb. Incidentally, don't forget to take a look at the links down below. You will also find some other links. You'll find a link to the platform, Buy Me a Coffee. So now we're going to take a look at the alternative way of doing this. So if we do it before the verb, this is, a lot of people will do this actually. It's not uncommon for people to do this. So it's going to be placed here before the verb ir. So ela não vai lavar. Ela não vai lavar. Ele não as vai arrumar. Ela não a vai atirar. Não as vou comer. Não as vou comer. Now, I gave you a very simplified version as it's going to help. But this rule with the R at the end, so this rule of this table here, when we're talking about after the infinitives, it's for words that are ending in R, basically. Now, also sometimes when words are ending in S and when they are ending in Z, we do a similar thing. So we can take a look here. For example, we're not going to say you eat them, we're not going to say come juj. No, we're going to say come-los. Or you would say comemos as well, because the nós form ends in an S, so you would have to say comemos. And with the Z to say do it, you'd have to say falo, falo. These are a little bit more complicated though. If I were you, I would just focus on the ones that I showed you in the video, and you will see that it's not as complicated as you think. Or you might not think it's complicated. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, don't forget to check the links down below. Don't forget to check the video about the pronouns, the reflexive pronouns, because this is going to help you also with some key words that are going to change the position of these pronouns. So I know I look like I should be working in the airport today and directing the planes, but this was the best sound I could get because it's been a little hectic here, shall we say. So I hope you liked the video, and let me know in the comments if you've got any questions or if you've got any ideas, and I will be glad to answer them. So until next time, até a próxima!